PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Welcome to the show. Coming up tonight on PACTV Community News, we bring you to a TriTown Community Read, an animal shelter fundraiser, and a Habitat House dedication.
PCN has two great theater stories, a sneak peek at Grease the Musical from the Americana Theater Company, and we head down to Manomet to learn more about Priscilla Beach's outdoor pavilion.
State House Report talks with Matt Moratori on tourism for our area, and Town Talk has Pembroke Town Administrator on our set.
It's a great show, and we begin with Manomet with the Priscilla Beach Theater. PCN has seen the growth of the historic Priscilla Beach Theater over the past 3 years, and we were lucky enough to see the new addition to the front lawn, an open-air theater pavilion. Constructed with historic integrity in mind, PCN summer correspondent Katie Donegan brought us the story.
On a quiet back road in Manomet sits a historic campus that has been host to over 50 years worth of child actors under the direction of Geronimo Sands. We spoke to Priscilla Beach owner and proprietor Bob Malone about the most recent improvements to the site.
It is a red cedar construction for the most part. There's some glue lam components that are structurally kind of in place, but it's a beautiful building. It's something that, you know, if you're out and back in the farming days, you'd find this shed area that there'd be equipment parked under and you know, things stored underneath it. Still open air, and it will serve the purpose of what we used the tent for originally. You know, a way to kind of protect us from the elements, from the rain and from the sun itself during the heat of the summer, and allow us to have some additional rehearsal space. It's about the same size as the barn stage itself, so it allows us to do kind of blocking and rehearsals out here that will carry into the barn a whole lot easier than when we use the GMO, the small GMO black box theater. And we'll also use it for children's workshops. And the other thing that we'll introduce here will be functions, that we can start doing some small concerts out here, or even weddings out here. The other thing that we did build as part of this is a second ice house, which is off to the left over here. So we thought, hey, with this permanent structure, it'd be nice to have a house for these, for the soundboard, for the light board, and to not have to break things down and put it back up. So we built a secondary ice house, matching our original 1875 ice house over there. And now when we look at the campus, it is just such a joy. It is, it sounds almost naive to say this, but we're giddy as we walk on campus.
Reporting from under the pavilion at Priscilla Beach Theater, this has been Katie Donegan for PCN.
Grease is the word, at least for the next few weeks here in Plymouth, as the Americana Theater Company brings some 1950s style singing and dancing to the Spire Theater with a stage production of the classic musical. We dropped by to meet some of the actors during one of their rehearsals.
The Americana Theater Company is no stranger to the Plymouth area, and every time they find their way back here for one of their big productions, it feels a bit like a family reunion. You've got your aunts and uncles that you'll always recognize, and then maybe there are some cousins you didn't even know you had. But every time they show up, they bring plenty of talent. This time, they'll be using that talent to produce a stage version of Grease, a movie that came out in 1978, decades before many of this cast were even born. In 1978, if you didn't know John Travolta as Vinnie Barbarino from the show Welcome Back, Kotter, you probably knew him as Danny Zuko from the movie Grease. Now, nearly 4 decades later, when you think of Grease, you don't really think of John Travolta so much as the songs like Summer Loving and, to a lesser extent, Beauty School Dropout. And for a couple of weeks in the month of July, the Americana Theater Company will be singing all of your favorite songs from the movie Grease in a stage production at the Spire in downtown Plymouth. Of course, I didn't know that 7 years before it became a movie, Grease was already a stage production in 1971, and that's the format that this company is adhering to. So instead of seeing the Olivia Newton-John version of Sandy, you can expect to see a more complex version of this iconic lead character.
The stage version is really kind of different. Sandy's like more awkward. She doesn't really like know who she is or know her place, and she's like pretty much just rejected from the Pink Ladies. So in preparing for the role, I definitely had to like kind of just erase all my preconceived ideas and notions about who I thought Sandy was, because I like grew up watching Grease, and really just like embrace the Sandy of this show.
A production like Grease has all of the components that require the cast to be the proverbial triple threat, meaning they have to be able to not only act, but sing and dance as well. The soundtrack to this production alone is enough to pull the audience right into the show, and that's something that the Americana Theater Company is certain will happen each night that they take the stage.
I challenge you to come to the show and see if you can't get involved. The music is rich and fun, dancing. We're like all the way downstage, dancing in your face. We're sweating. We're having the time of our lives. It would be very, very difficult not to engage. And it's funny and fun.
While some musicals come and go, Grease seems to be one of those productions that gains popularity with each passing year. And the explanation may actually be pretty simple.
I think one of the major things is the music. And you can't help but tap your toe or like shake a little bit when you hear it. It gets my blood pumping, and I'm sure it does for everyone else. And I guess just mostly that it deals with, I think everybody has probably been through some type of plot point in this show, whether it's finding your circle of friends, or just trying to figure out, just trying to get through high school, or just trying to get through like what it means to grow up, and all the influences that are going on around you, just how you can use your environment to create and find out who you are.
And if you haven't seen it yet, there's still time, as the show will run through the 23rd of July. At the Spire in downtown Plymouth, I'm Brian Sullivan for PCN.
What talent we have in Plymouth between the Spire and what they're doing and the Priscilla Beach Theater. It's just incredible to watch.
I know, it's really wonderful, especially, it warms my heart because my undergraduate degree is in theater, and it's just so nice to see talented young people coming and sharing their gift with this community. It's a really special thing, and you know all about that too.
Yeah, I was a theater major also.
Yeah. So we know what the word is.
We do.
Grease is the word.
Grease is the word.
The Duxbury Performing Arts Center played host to the second annual TriTown Read, which is a collaboration of the public libraries from Marshfield, Kingston, and Duxbury. This year's gathering featured author Alice Hoffman as they discussed her latest novel, The Marriage of Opposites.
We are, for the second time, doing this program, the TriTown Read, as a collaboration between the public libraries of Duxbury, Kingston, and Marshfield. And the idea really came from West Wind's Bookshop, and we thought it was a fabulous idea because it brings the audiences of those three towns together to honor and listen to and learn from a very well-known novelist. And this is the second time we've done it.
The book we're talking about tonight is The Marriage of Opposites. It's Alice Hoffman's latest book. I believe she has another one. She's quite a prolific writer. I think she has another one coming out after this. But it's a really captivating novel that is set in St. Thomas in 1830, and it's about the mother of Camille Pissarro, who is the father of Impressionist painting.
Alice Hoffman will be reading from her book, and this novel is the latest of many. She's been writing for a long time. So we'll get to hear the author herself read from her own book, so we'll hear it the way she means it to sound. And then there will be conversation, and really the auditorium is set up as almost like a living room. So it is a real conversation. It's warm, it's cozy, it's intimate, and you really get a sense of who the author is. Marianne excels at this kind of setting.
I'll be asking her questions about process and about her own personal way of working.
There will be questions from the audience, so people will really have a chance to have a personal interchange with Alice Hoffman.
Women read the most, women buy the most books. Even though the New York Times only reviews us 70-30, skewed men, women are the readers. Women are the reasons that book clubs women are readers. They're the ones keeping it afloat.
Over the course of just a few months, we've been able to watch as the South Shore Habitat for Humanity and its volunteers helped construct a home on Franklin Street in Duxbury. We were there for the sawing, the sanding, the digging, the raking, and nearly everything else that goes into home construction. We followed the story right up to the key exchange and ribbon cutting, and it all took place on a beautiful summer Saturday morning.
Today is the home dedication and house blessing and giving of the keys. So the community comes out. We had members from the town of Duxbury, the Community Preservation Committee, the Affordable Housing Trust that provided the land in which we were able to do the actual building. And then we had members from Pilgrim Church and our faith partners and our faith community that came out and gave us money and time and talent. So volunteers, parishioners that baked, you see the baked goods that they brought to share and have been doing all over the last 18 months. We had members of our board of directors. We had our team of staff. And then what is always really exciting is that we had family partners from Marshfield and from Hanover who also come because they're part of the family and they came to see the joy of another Habitat family being welcomed home. Habitat works and partners with families, and it takes about 18 months. So if you were to do flash photography, we go through an application process. Homeowners are qualified from income, from housing need. Then we break ground, and thanks to the town of Duxbury and all of the partners, we begin construction. And we work for about 9 months. And then once we're inside in the winter time where you were able to see it, now we start to bring the love on the inside, doing all of the finishing. And then it culminates today where we're able to look a family in the eye and say, no more moving, no more having to struggle. Now you're home. You are in a community that is beautiful, that's surrounded by neighbors. It's truly neighbors helping neighbors, and on average, 500 to 800 people will come out and did come out to make this homeownership a reality. True altruism is doing things that you should be doing for the world around you. And so today, for many of them, this was the first time they even got to see the house. They came and were doing framing, and every day would drive by and say, hey, look, Dad did that framing. Let's go back today and look, showing your kids, showing your spouse. I had a handle in making this. Habitat doesn't build the house, the community builds the house, and that's what today's all about.
He was there every step of the way.
The Friends of the Pembroke Shelter held a vendor and white elephant sale on the town green to raise money to renovate the Pembroke Dog Pound. PCN stopped by to hear more.
Today we're having a vendor fair in efforts to raise some money to renovate the dog shelter and the dog pound in town. We've got a lot of vendors down here. A lot of people have come out with some yard sale items. We've got some food from A Fork in the Road and also some animal advocacy groups. We've got the Mass Coalition for Puppy Mills and Bailey's All for the Animals, which is here with a lot of adoptable dogs. Probably about 3 years ago now, Puppy Doe, who was an animal that was abused in Quincy, started making me think about things that I could do personally to try to help the animals. That really was kind of a devastating event for me. So we started looking locally, what can we do, what can we fix up? And so we took a look at the dog pound in town, and it really could use some work. It hasn't been upgraded for quite a few years.
So we're working with the ACO in the town to try to just make some renovations and make it a more pleasant place for the animals. Just with today's economy, it's hard for the towns to work with the budgets and try to do a lot of additional things that need to be done, but they don't necessarily have the money for. So we're just trying to support the town and the animal shelter and just make it a little more pleasant place for the animals, a little safer, a little more comfortable. So we're just trying to raise some money to make some kind of overdue renovations.
We're just going to keep plugging away and make some improvements, and hope to see everybody down here. And again, we're the Friends of the Pembroke Shelter.
We're trying to raise funds to help renovate the Pembroke Animal Shelter. It's definitely in need of some love and care because our animals deserve it, and hopefully between the raffles and the town people coming out and supporting, we'll be able to get that center back in working order. Today we have face painting by Molly, and we have the bounce house that is open to kids, and balloon animals. We're working on balloon animals. My mom's an animal lover, and from the very beginning since we saw the shelter, we knew something needed to be done. So she just decided to start little steps, little fundraisers. We're just raising money and doing the best we can to make it. For the town, I think it's really important that we kind of all work together to make it a place that we're happy and to have the animals be happy. And for me, I personally have been rescuing animals for about 15 years. 4 out of the 5 animals I have are rescues. You can go to pet stores and get animals there, but there's animals that really need homes, and those are the ones that have the most love to give sometimes. So that's why we do this.
The planning involved in the 2020 celebrations here in Plymouth are extensive and will have a major impact on the tourism industry. We met up with State Rep Matt Muratori to talk about the preliminary planning on the state level.
So there's a new state commission coming out that will actually address the private-public partnership between the town of Plymouth and the Commonwealth with the 400th commemoration that's coming up in 2020. I believe it's going to be a 28-member commission, all appointees of the governor. Every major secretary cabinet will be on there, or their designee will be on there. There'll be a number of private citizens on there as well, and some from various industries such as the hotel industry. Industries that will benefit from the 400th anniversary that's coming up in 2020. There are major benefits economically for the Commonwealth, not just for Plymouth, but for the Commonwealth. And the administration is seeing the benefits, not just for Plymouth in 2020, but also Boston in 2030. So there's actually a 10-year period where Plymouth starts the 400th anniversary, and other communities like Quincy and Salem and Boston will be having over the next decade as well. So they're looking at this as more of an economic development for the Commonwealth. Part of this commission will be worth looking at infrastructure, because there'll be a secretary from that department that will be on this. Transportation will be another aspect of it that needs to be looked at and is being looked at. Because we're expected to have over a year period between late 2019 and 2021, which is really the first Thanksgiving in November 2021. We're expecting an increase in visitors to about 7 million visitors in the Plymouth area and beyond the Plymouth area. And of course, we can't handle the infrastructure, the transportation, the hotels. So there's going to be a major impact to the communities around us, Cape Cod, the South Shore, the South Coast, Boston. But that will be part of what this commission will do, will be looking at all that. Well, so far the state over the last 4 years have put in, I think, a total of $700,000. Up to this point. This year we're looking for another 200, so that will bring it to 900,000 that the state has put in. And the town has put in a significant amount too. I don't know the exact amount, but 200,000 or 300,000 over the last few years as well. So there's been that's seed money, but you really need the private sector to be involved in this as well. So I'm talking about major corporations that will be getting involved with this. And you can think of some natural ones like Mayflower Moving Company or Plymouth Rock Assurance. Companies like that really could have a great impact on what's going to be happening here in Plymouth and the Commonwealth. And again, this isn't just a Commonwealth event either, it's also international. So it's a national event and it's international. We're working with our folks from Plymouth, UK on this commemoration as well. I think the 2020 commemoration will have economic benefits from beyond 2020, and that's really the goal of this. People coming from all over the country, all over the world, who haven't been to Plymouth, and once they see what we have here, and we have 35 miles of coastline, we have all this great culture and arts and entertainment and great restaurants, and we feel that will have major benefits beyond 2020, where tourism will increase over the years, 10, 20, 15% every single year after that point.
This week's Town Talk brings Pembroke Town Administrator Ed Thorne back to our set. Welcome, Ed.
Julie, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you. In Pembroke this week, we're going to talk about a lot of things that are going on, but let's talk trash, because there's a big rollout of the new trash program and there's some misconceptions. So why don't you talk about what's happening?
Well, we decided about 6-7 months ago that we were going to become fully automated in Pembroke. We started 5 years ago with the recycling program, and we decided to build upon that. A lot of communities nationwide are going to fully automated systems. It saves money, so keep the cost down, for our residents. And so, like I said, about 6-7 months ago, we explored the possibility with easy disposal about going fully automated. And we're having 64-gallon toters delivered to each household this week. And hopefully after all of the households are have their toters, then we'll go fully automated next week. Right now, we're having a soft opening where we're having 2 trucks go in each neighborhood. One will automatically pick up the toters, and another one will be picking up manually some of the trash that might be left behind.
In the old trash bins that people used to be able to use.
Exactly.
Right. And after this week, those are no longer acceptable. You have to just use the toters.
You got to be using the toters. We'll allow 2 trash toters and 2 recycling toters per household.
Yep.
And we'll hopefully that will work for everybody in the community. We'll be going out and allowing people to have their own toter that they could buy at Home Depot or a Lowe's. And we furnish stickers so that recycling or trash can be put on the lids so that the driver in the cab can know exactly which ones to be able to pick up. And then on July the 23rd, we will have a special trash pickup to go around and pick up any unwanted trash cans or toters that people don't want.
All your old ones that are broken and have been run over, and they're the
and
wind
if
knocks
they
them
don't
over.
make it on the if we don't pick theirs up on the 23rd, they're always invited to come out to the recycling center on any given Saturday
and they can just
drop
turn them
off.
in.
That's correct.
Perfect. Okay. So that's trash for now.
Correct.
There'll be more trash talk later, I'm sure. Okay, and at the Selectmen's meeting last night, you talked about medical marijuana dispensaries, and there was a vote taken. Can you update
Green
us?
Harbors, a company out of Duxbury, came in to visit the Selectmen for the second time. And this time they made a presentation that lasted almost an hour. And basically they were looking for either a letter of support from the Selectmen or a letter of non-opposition.
Okay.
Unfortunately for them, the Selectmen voted 3-2 not to support the project at all. And this would have been a dispensary that would have been located in North Pembroke, pretty much in the Oak Street area.
So there will be no medical marijuana dispensary in Pembroke at all?
Well, at least from the company that made their presentation last night.
Oh, okay. So another company could possibly come up and make another presentation?
That's correct.
Oh, all right. All right. So it's just that company that was denied.
That's correct.
All right. And in our last minute or so, a lot of towns are doing the 5-year plan or the grand plan or whatever you want to call it, to kind of look into the future and say, we're going to make some changes in our town. I know over the summer you're going to meet with a school committee and a couple other committees. Talk about that.
During the budget process this spring, both the school committee and the advisory committee had talked about meeting with the selectmen and talk about a vision for the community. In the past, we've done a couple of strategic planning retreats, one at Bridgewater State, one at Pembroke Country Club, over the years, and they're very productive.
Right.
And we're looking at doing something similar to that, to look at what a 5-year plan would be for the community based on what advisory, which is the finance committee in our community, and the school committee as well. So we're looking at revenue sources and big picture items like the potential of a new fire station, police station,
community center,
right,
all the things
well.
that we've talked about in town for years and years and years. Now we're going to be part of
It's getting to the point now where we got to do something about
Right, we
this.
have to put the plan in place,
That's
or in
correct.
writing anyway.
Right.
Okay, more to follow.
Absolutely.
All righty, thank you. And thank you for watching the show. PCN is on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, so be sure to follow us there. We're always looking for story ideas, so email kim@pactv.org and fill out a form at our website. Replay times are also listed there. We will see you next week for more local summer stories.